Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Jocelyn, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about how I got my Facebook internship last summer, aka summer 2020. I'm going to walk you through the process of applying, the interview process, all that stuff literally up until the day I started work as a Facebook intern. To clarify, I worked as a software engineering intern. That was my title. I code, basically. Anyone who wants to be a basic coder man at Facebook, this would be the job you're applying for. It's been a long time since I've done a sit-down video, but the reason that I want to take the time to do this one is because I've actually been getting a lot of questions and comments lately on my video, Facebook, day in the life. Because of all those questions, I wanted to take the time and actually explain in detail, because it's really easy for me to give a one-off, one-sentence answer of how I got this job, but at the end of the day, that's not really helpful to anyone, and so I want to make sure I'm breaking it down step by step, moment by moment, to let you guys know kind of the ins and outs of what it's like applying for this job. Let's dive right into it. I was lucky enough to have a friend who worked at Facebook the previous summer, and so summer 2019. So in summer 2019, I texted her and was like, hi, can you by any chance give me a referral to Facebook? I'm super interested in the company, and I know that referrals are a good way to get in the door. If you guys don't know, referrals are basically when someone who works at that company right now fills out a form and is like, oh, this person I'm friends with, or like know somehow through like business, I think they would be a really good fit for this company, a good fit for company culture, and so I want to recommend them in the hiring process. So we had a super long conversation about what my strengths and weaknesses are as a candidate and big projects that I've worked on in the past and stuff. If you are going the route of getting a referral, I would highly recommend making sure you have a sit-down conversation or at least a text message or something with them first to make sure that the things that you want to highlight about yourself are being encompassed in the referral. Because it would really suck if they decided to write that you have really good time management and then you go into your own interviews and you say that that's something you're working on. So make sure you're on the same page about everything and make sure they really know who you are and how best to highlight you before you even let them refer you. So I got referred sometime in summer 2019, and in late August of that year, very late August I think, I got an email from my recruiter that basically said, hi, we received this referral and we think you look like a great fit so far. We eventually, once the recruiting process starts, do want to move forward interviewing you, but we want to make sure that you are genuinely interested in coming to our company. Basically, I immediately replied and said that my friend had spoken really highly of the company, and so because of that, it was somewhere I really wanted to work, and that I was really excited to start the recruiting process, sort of dive in and get the opportunity to work for Facebook. Then, not long after that was the career fair. The career fair at our school is one of the most overwhelming experiences that I've ever had. The full ice rink and 3 basketball courts worth of space are taken up by companies recruiting and trying to get you interested in their company. For someone like me, that's so overwhelming. And then factor in the fact that you have literally every single student at my college attending that day, dressed up, ready to impress. So I always know going into career fair days that I'm just not going to have the mental energy in order to walk around to 100 different companies and talk to all of them and sell myself to all of them. It's just not gonna happen. So before going into the career fair, I made a plan of attack and listed 2 to 3 companies that I really wanted to talk to and I really wanted to make sure knew me well. I would drop my resume there and talk with the recruiters and make sure they knew that their company was one of my top companies that I was interested in working in. When I was actually talking to Facebook, I dropped my resume, as you do, and then made sure that I specified to the recruiter when I dropped my resume that I had already gotten a referral to the company and I just was coming to talk about it, hear more about it, and express how truly interested I was. This was super important because tons of people are obviously dropping their resume to Facebook, so it helped my resume sort of stand out and have them flag it as a referred person so that I would move to the top of their priority queue. Even if you don't have a referral though, I would highly recommend trying to figure out a way to talk to them at career fair or something else. After the career fair, I got an email from the same recruiter that I had been talking to previously to tell me that they were doing on-campus interviews. So this is really exciting because it meant that basically on Tuesday they were going to interview people, and then if you got a call back, you would do a second interview on Thursday, and then by the end of the week you would know if you got the job, which is insane and mind-bogglingly fast, like stressful fast. So obviously replied, filled out the form, scheduled my Tuesday interview. When I received the email to schedule my interviews, I also received a full email about how to prepare for your Facebook interview. I thought this was super helpful just because it takes out a lot of the nerves of what do I expect, what's this going to be like, what am I going to do to prepare, because you literally have it all right in front of you. I'm staring at this email right now and it's literally taking up my entire computer screen full of stuff to think about. They talked about what to expect in the coding part. They also sent a link to a few videos of kind of what to expect in interviews, and then basically just said, good luck. On Tuesday, I went down to the career fair where the interviews are being held. One of the cool things about the fact that Facebook had in-person interviews for my school was that you actually got to interact face-to-face to do coding problems, which for me is infinitely easier than when you have to do an online problem and you're literally talking to someone on a phone and having to like talk through a problem when they like can't even see your thought process. I had an interview like that for Palantir, and it was so difficult to make sure that I was talking out loud the entire time because they obviously couldn't see anything that I was like writing in my head. Even though Facebook is a casual company, I still wanted to dress my best while obviously looking like I understood the company culture, company role. So I wore a cute pair of pink jeans and a blue like kind of like striped businessy shirt. A good like nice formal level, but not completely fancy. A lot of people there actually did just wear like literally like t-shirts, hoodies, sweatshirts, whatever, like sweatpants. A lot of people in that interview room didn't really look like they cared that deeply, so I don't know if it had an impact, but I did want to make sure that I was dressing nicely, even if it didn't technically matter. So I went into my first interview and I was meeting with someone who was probably like not that much older than me, like only 2-3 years older, but went into an interview and what he did is have me walk through 2 different coding problems on the whiteboard. So I had dry erase whiteboard and he would give me kind of a complex problem and then I'd have to walk through and pseudocode the entire thing. They didn't care whatsoever what language you used or even if your code was syntactically correct in the language you were choosing. They literally only wanted pseudocode. So basically, like, if all you know is Java, like, they don't want you, like, writing all those, like, parentheses, all that fancy stuff, like, none of that whatsoever, purely pseudocode. So, like, write sort, list, A, and then that's done, that's the line. I had to complete these 2 problems. The second problem, I did need a little help from my interviewer to kind of walk through, bump me through, which made me nervous, I'm not gonna lie. And then I went home feeling a little sick, a little like I definitely did not get this job. However, luckily, the very next day I got an email from my recruiter saying that I made it to the next round. This is probably one of the most exciting moments in my entire life because although I have applied to tons of companies, done so many interviews over this past summer, getting to a final round of a same company interview is just insane, and Facebook was also my dream company always, so I was very excited. Along with saying that I received a second round interview, he also said that that night there was going to be a career fair related info session / food session just for Facebook where you could go in and you could talk with current Facebook employees, a lot of them graduates of MIT as well, and kind of communicate. Not only could they get to know you, but also so that you could get to know them and find out more about Facebook. Everyone I talked to was so nice, so selling of Facebook, and it like really relaxed me before my interview the next day. If you have any opportunity whatsoever to go to some of these info sessions, I would super make sure you do, because not only will it give you an opportunity to kind of get your question answered about the company, but for Facebook, I think it really did help to make a good impression. There's obviously a lot of insanely qualified coders out there, and obviously a ton of people who want a job at Facebook, so it's just as important to have super good interpersonal skills, or at least be able to fake it for like the hour or whatever you're in front of people, as it is to have good coding skills. Obviously, if you're a super genius, maybe this doesn't apply, but if you are just a person who loves coding, wants the job, being able to have just normal conversations outside of just, oh, this is what my code does, conversations will really set you apart from the people who maybe have equal coding skills as you from what they can tell in these interviews. My final round interview was essentially the exact same thing as my first round interview, but with different questions. So I went into the office, had a whiteboard, a marker, and I did 2 coding questions on the board. These ones I would say were definitely harder than the first one. There was a DP problem in there, and another problem which I think actually was pretty straightforward, but just like required you to really have to think through the problem solving aspect of what they were asking. So when you go into the interview, I would make sure to, maybe look for the like fancy code problem, but also make sure that you're prepared just to go in and problem solve. I say this because one of the problems I got asked, like I said, was so straightforward of a problem to solve, but you really did just have to sit there, stare at it for a little bit, and think of what are the possible ways for me to solve this problem and which one of these things has the shortest runtime. It is beneficial to you if you can speak your thought process out loud while you're trying to solve the answer. I'm a person who literally can just ramble their thoughts. Like if I'm sitting here like doodling, I can talk about my doodles for hours as I do them. So this is something that comes really naturally to me, and I think is definitely something that's beneficial during the interview process. However, if it's something that you struggle to vocalize your thoughts out loud as you're thinking them, like real-time thought process, I think that's something that when you're doing like LeetCode or HackerRank or any of these type of problems ahead of time to practice, I would really recommend talking your thought process out loud as you do them. This will make it so that when you go into an interview, whether it's in person, on the phone, over Zoom, whatever, you're going to be ready and feel supernatural just talking out your thought process, because then you won't have another thing to worry about. When you're in that interview, if you're spending mental capacity being like, oh shoot, I forgot to talk out loud, oh let me redo what I just said out loud, that is going to waste your time and waste your mental capacity, and we don't need that. We want our full mental capacity on the problem at hand so that we can show off the very best of our coding skills. After the second interview, I heard within days that I got the job, and I was literally so excited. I wanted to accept right on the spot, but I was like, okay, give me a week, let me think about it, because I don't want to seem too eager, and also I wanted to tell my friends and family first before I did anything that I had gotten the job. Between the time where I accepted the job and I arrived on Facebook campus, there was COVID, which means that although I was supposed to work in the Facebook office, I ended up actually working from home. Still, I did get a chance to do some in-person events after receiving the job. The first one of these is that they invited all of the MIT students who receive software engineering internships to play Lucky Strike at the bowling alley. I couldn't go to this because I had a basketball game, which sucked, because I didn't get to meet any of the other MIT kids. And then I also got the opportunity, after I accepted, to tour the Facebook office and get to interact with a bunch of the people that work there, hear from recruiters about benefits and things, and just experience office life and get a tour of where I would be working that next year. If you guys are thinking about applying to Facebook, I would definitely do it. You never know. even if you think you might not be qualified or something, you never know who they will be looking for or even how you will do on your coding interview that day. It could be the problem that really skyrockets you to success. If you guys have any more questions about my Facebook job process or anything else in my life, make sure you ask in the comments, because I enjoy doing these kind of videos where I just talk through things that have happened. So always here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you hit the like button on this video so that I know whether or not you want more videos that are informative and sit down like this. I know I said that I was going to start posting more travel vlogs, but if this is what you guys prefer, I will try and find the time to make more videos such as this. Also, leave a comment, let me know thoughts, questions, concerns, let me know where you are interning this summer, and I'll see you next week!